It is entirely plausible that the appliance designed to preserve our food, your refrigerator, might be inadvertently compromising your well-being on a daily basis, a subtle yet significant threat lurking within its chilled confines. This statement, while seemingly dramatic, holds a considerable weight of truth, as a collection of 9 common food items, when subjected to the frigid environment of a refrigerator, undergo detrimental transformations that extend far beyond superficial changes in taste or texture. These alterations involve complex and potentially dangerous chemical reactions, a severe depletion of vital nutrients essential for bodily function, and an unfortunate acceleration of bacterial proliferation, all of which are direct consequences of cold storage. The most alarming aspect of this phenomenon is the widespread and persistent practice among individuals, particularly those over the age of 60, who continue to refrigerate these specific food items without a full understanding of the insidious damage they are inflicting upon their gastrointestinal health, the optimal functioning of their cardiovascular system, and even the cognitive capacity of their brains. In fact, a growing number of health experts are now postulating that our modern, almost unquestioning reliance on refrigeration might be a silent contributor to the escalating global prevalence of chronic diseases, a perplexing paradox in our quest for longer and healthier lives. This comprehensive guide is meticulously designed to unveil the scientific rationale underpinning these assertions, offering a detailed explanation of why these 9 foods should be kept far from the cold, and providing scientifically validated, safe, and effective storage alternatives for each. Prepare yourself for a revelation, as the information pertaining to the second item on our list is particularly startling, challenging deeply ingrained assumptions about food preservation. Rest assured, every piece of information presented herein is rigorously supported by peer-reviewed scientific research, with direct links to the original studies conveniently accessible in the description section accompanying this content. Before we embark on this enlightening journey into the specifics of each food item, we extend a warm invitation for you to engage with us by sharing your geographical location, your current age, and any personal observations you may have regarding the changes in taste or texture of refrigerated foods. We genuinely value each comment and are committed to providing personalized advice in response to your experiences. Please do not hesitate to like this video if you find the information valuable and to subscribe to our channel to ensure you receive a steady stream of further enlightening content designed to enhance your senior health and well-being. We commence our exploration with item number 9, potatoes. You might find it astonishing, even counterintuitive, to learn that the very act of refrigerating potatoes can actually contribute to the formation of toxic compounds, a concerning consequence of an otherwise benign intention. The frigid temperatures characteristic of a refrigerator initiate a biochemical transformation, where the starches naturally present in potatoes are converted into sugars through a phenomenon meticulously documented in scientific literature as cold-induced sweetening. This is not merely a qualitative change that affects the palatability of the potato, it carries more profound health implications. When these newly formed sugars within the potato are subsequently subjected to high-temperature cooking methods such as frying or baking, they undergo a chemical reaction with amino acids to produce acrylamide. This compound has been classified as a probable human carcinogen by the esteemed International Agency for Research on Cancer, a designation that underscores the seriousness of this seemingly innocuous culinary practice. Numerous scientific investigations have unequivocally demonstrated a substantial increase in the sugar content of potatoes that have been stored at refrigerator temperatures, with this elevation occurring within a remarkably short period of just 2 weeks, effectively tripling their initial sugar levels. Beyond the chemical alterations, this process also exerts a deleterious effect on the potato's structural integrity and texture, rendering them unpleasantly gritty and overly sweet due to the breakdown of their cellular components. To ensure the optimal preservation of potatoes, it is imperative to store them in a cool, dark environment, with ideal temperature ranges falling between 45 and 50 degrees Celsius. A well-ventilated pantry, a cool cellar, or even a simple cardboard box discreetly placed within a closet can serve as an excellent storage solution, with the darkness being a crucial factor in preventing the genesis of solanine, another toxic compound that can manifest as green discoloration on the potato's surface. Furthermore, it is highly recommended to store potatoes in paper bags or open baskets that facilitate adequate air circulation, thereby averting the moisture accumulation and subsequent rot that can be exacerbated by plastic bags. A particularly valuable tip for potato storage is to maintain a separation from onions. The ethylene gas released by onions can accelerate the spoilage process of potatoes and vice versa. With adherence to these proper storage techniques, potatoes can retain their quality and edibility for an extended period of up to 3 months, a stark and significant contrast to the rapid degradation they undergo when subjected to the conditions of a refrigerator. Proceeding to item number 8 on our discerning list, we address bread. In a fascinating display of culinary science, the common assumption that refrigeration preserves bread is, in fact, entirely erroneous. On the contrary, refrigerating bread significantly accelerates its staling process. This accelerated staling is primarily attributed to a phenomenon known as starch retrogradation, wherein the starch molecules within the bread begin to crystallize, a process that leads to the expulsion of moisture from the bread's matrix. Scientific studies provide compelling evidence that bread stored at refrigerator temperatures stales up to 6 times faster than its counterpart kept at ambient room temperature. This means that bread can become unpleasantly hard and crumbly within a mere 3 days when refrigerated, whereas bread stored at room temperature can retain its freshness and desirable texture for a full week. Beyond the textural deterioration, the cold environment also has a detrimental impact on the bread's natural flavor compounds, resulting in a noticeably diminished and less enjoyable taste profile. The most effective and recommended method for storing bread involves keeping it in a bread box or a paper bag at room temperature, allowing for a modest degree of air circulation to inhibit the formation of mold while simultaneously retaining sufficient humidity to maintain the bread's characteristic softness. In situations where you anticipate that a loaf of bread will not be consumed within the span of a week, opting for slicing and subsequent freezing represents a far superior preservation strategy. Freezing is remarkably effective at preserving bread's quality by actively preventing the formation of damaging ice crystals that can compromise texture. Once frozen, slices of bread can be directly transferred to a toaster, yielding a result that is remarkably close to the taste and texture of a freshly baked loaf, a testament to the efficacy of this storage method. At number 7 on our list, we encounter honey, a substance renowned for its remarkable longevity and inherent stability, with historical evidence suggesting its edibility even after millennia. However, the application of refrigeration, despite its perceived preservative qualities, can rapidly degrade the superior quality of honey. The frigid temperatures within a refrigerator induce crystallization in honey, transforming its smooth, liquid consistency into a grainy, hardened mass. More critically, refrigeration can introduce a significant amount of moisture into the honey jar through the process of condensation. This introduced moisture can compromise honey's potent antimicrobial properties, rendering it less effective in its natural protective functions. Scientific research indicates that honey stored at temperatures below 50 degrees Celsius can experience a loss of up to 35% of its beneficial antimicrobial compounds, thereby diminishing its inherent natural antibiotic qualities. The intricate and nuanced flavor profile of honey, a characteristic that makes it so cherished, can also be negatively impacted by the cold, leading to a duller and less vibrant taste. The correct and scientifically supported method for storing honey involves keeping it at room temperature, ideally within the range of 64 to 75 degrees, within a tightly sealed container to prevent contamination and evaporation, and away from direct sunlight, which can degrade its quality over time. Should your honey crystallize, a common and easily reversible occurrence, it can be restored to its pristine liquid state by simply placing the jar in a basin of warm water, a gentle and effective method that preserves its integrity. It is also worth noting that darker varieties of honey, which are typically richer in antioxidants and possess more complex flavor profiles, may exhibit a greater susceptibility to degradation from cold storage compared to their lighter counterparts. For the devoted coffee enthusiasts among us, item number 6 presents a critical advisory. It is strongly recommended to avoid refrigerating coffee in any form, be it beans or ground. Coffee beans possess a porous structure, a characteristic that makes them highly receptive to absorbing surrounding odors and flavors present in their environment. Consequently, any coffee stored in a refrigerator is predisposed to acquiring the distinct scent profiles of other food items within the appliance, leading to a significant and undesirable alteration in its taste. Moreover, the constant fluctuations in temperature inherent to a refrigerator's operation create condensation on the surface of coffee beans, a phenomenon that can lead to premature aging of the beans and, in some cases, foster the growth of mold. Coffee beans subjected to refrigerated conditions can experience a substantial loss of their precious aromatic compounds within a period as short as 1 week. Simultaneously, the delicate oils responsible for imparting coffee's characteristic flavor can solidify under cold temperatures, ultimately resulting in brews that are weak, unpalatable, and lacking in the depth of flavor expected from quality coffee. The optimal method for storing coffee, ensuring the preservation of its aroma and flavor, involves placing it in an opaque, airtight container maintained at room temperature, ideally between 60 and 70 degrees Celsius, thereby minimizing exposure to temperature fluctuations. It is generally advisable to purchase coffee in smaller quantities that are intended for consumption within a 2-week time frame. For situations requiring longer-term storage, the freezer is a considerably better alternative than the refrigerator, provided that the coffee is meticulously divided into weekly portions and is subjected to freezing only once to prevent degradation. Ranking at number 5 on our list is garlic. The act of refrigerating garlic, while perhaps seemingly a logical step for preservation, can lead to a considerable diminution in its potency and, more concerningly, can introduce potential health risks. The moist and consistently cold environment characteristic of a refrigerator tends to promote premature sprouting in garlic. The green shoots that emerge are not only unpleasantly bitter, but can also contribute to digestive upset. Of greater concern is the potential for mold growth, as certain types of mold produce harmful mycotoxins, which can pose significant health threats. Scientific research has established that refrigerated garlic experiences a significant decline in its allicin content within a mere 10 days. Allicin is the vital compound responsible for garlic's well-documented medicinal properties, including its potent antibacterial, antiviral, and heart health benefits. Refrigeration also inflicts damage upon garlic's texture, rendering it mushy and considerably more difficult to chop or prepare for culinary use. The scientifically recommended method for storing garlic involves keeping it in a cool, dry place that offers good air circulation, ideally at a temperature around 60 to 65 degrees Celsius. It should be stored away from direct sunlight and sources of cooking heat. Crucially, never store garlic in plastic or sealed containers, as this traps moisture and promotes spoilage. When stored correctly, a whole head of garlic can maintain its quality and edibility for up to 6 months, a remarkable shelf life that stands in stark contrast to the rapid deterioration it undergoes in a refrigerator. Once a head of garlic has been broken down into individual cloves, these are best consumed within 10 days. Bananas, occupying the 4th position on our list, represent another category of fruit that should be unequivocally avoided when it comes to refrigeration. The low temperatures characteristic of a refrigerator trigger a phenomenon known as chilling injury in bananas. This injury involves the rupture of cell membranes within the fruit, initiating a process where the fruit begins to break down from the inside out, ultimately resulting in a blackened, mushy, and unappealing consistency. This internal breakdown not only halts the development of beneficial compounds that contribute to the banana's nutritional value, but can also lead to the death of the fruit's tissue, potentially creating an environment conducive to the proliferation of bacteria and mold. The ideal storage condition for bananas is at room temperature, with optimal temperatures ranging between 56 and 70 degrees Celsius. For optimal ripening and preservation of texture, it is recommended to hang bananas on a banana hook, which allows for proper air circulation and unimpeded ripening. To strategically control the speed of ripening, a simple trick involves placing bananas in a paper bag with an apple, which accelerates the process due to the apple's ethylene gas production. Conversely, to slow down ripening, one can separate the banana bunch and individually wrap each stem in plastic wrap, effectively trapping ethylene gas and delaying maturation. While ripe bananas can be placed in the refrigerator for a short duration, perhaps a day or two, it is important to note that their skins will invariably blacken, although the flesh inside may remain somewhat palatable. For longer-term preservation and for use in applications such as smoothies, freezing peeled bananas is an excellent option as it contributes to a creamier and more desirable texture. Onions, ranked at number 3, are particularly susceptible to rapid spoilage when subjected to refrigeration. The high humidity levels typically found within refrigerators, often hovering around 95%, are fundamentally detrimental to onions, which thrive in environments with a humidity of 65% or less. This excessive moisture creates a perfect breeding ground for mold growth, and it is important to be aware that some molds can produce highly carcinogenic aflatoxins. Even before visible mold appears, the cold temperatures within the refrigerator initiate a conversion of the natural starches present in onions into sugars. This transformation not only alters their characteristic flavor profile and cooking properties, but also causes them to become soft and mushy due to the formation of ice crystals within their cells. Therefore, whole onions are best stored in a cool, dry, and well-ventilated space, with ideal temperatures between 45 and 55 degrees. Storing them in mesh bags or baskets allows for adequate air circulation, enabling them to breathe. It is also important to keep onions separate from potatoes, as the released gases from each can accelerate the spoilage of the other. Furthermore, they should be kept out of direct sunlight. However, once an onion has been cut, it becomes significantly more vulnerable to bacterial contamination and should then be refrigerated in an airtight container and consumed within 7 days to ensure safety and quality. We have now arrived at the second item on our list, a revelation that might prove particularly unsettling: tomatoes. The impact of refrigeration on tomatoes is profoundly disturbing and, unfortunately, irreversible. Extensive scientific research has unequivocally demonstrated that exposure to cold temperatures can permanently deactivate the genes within the tomato, responsible for synthesizing the compounds that give them their characteristic flavor. This genetic inactivation effectively transforms a once vibrant and flavorful tomato into what can be colloquially described as a red water balloon, with a significantly diminished nutritional value. This damage is not a transient effect that can be reversed by bringing the tomato back to room temperature. It is a permanent alteration. Tomatoes are a rich source of lycopene, a potent antioxidant with significant health benefits, but refrigeration demonstrably reduces the availability of lycopene and also destroys the essential enzymes that facilitate its absorption by the human body. The texture of refrigerated tomatoes is also severely compromised, as ice crystals form between the cell walls, leading to a mealy and grainy consistency that is highly undesirable. The scientifically recommended method for storing tomatoes involves keeping them at room temperature, ideally between 55 and 70 degrees Celsius, with the stem side facing down. They should be stored away from direct sunlight but can benefit from some indirect light exposure. It is crucial not to store tomatoes in plastic bags, as the trapped ethylene gas can accelerate their ripening and subsequent rotting process. Ripe tomatoes are best consumed within 3 to 5 days of purchase. For any excess, it is far more beneficial to transform them into sauce and then freeze the cooked product, as cooked tomato products have a higher bioavailability of lycopene. Finally, we present number 1 on our list: avocados. The act of refrigerating avocados triggers a devastating destructive process that significantly diminishes their nutritional and textural qualities. Avocados are a nutritional powerhouse containing essential nutrients such as oleic acid, which plays a crucial role in maintaining brain health. However, refrigeration initiates lipid peroxidation, a process that oxidizes these beneficial healthy fats, leading to the formation of harmful free radicals within the fruit. Within a mere 4 days of being subjected to refrigeration, avocados can experience a staggering loss of up to 90% of their antioxidant activity. Furthermore, the cold temperatures activate a specific enzyme within the avocado that actively works to destroy the fruit from within, breaking down its cell walls and transforming its healthy compounds into bitter and potentially harmful substances. This internal degradation results in an irreversible loss of their characteristic smooth, creamy texture, transforming them into stringy, watery, and disappointing fruits. Unripe avocados should be stored at room temperature, ideally between 65 and 75 degrees, with adequate air circulation. To expedite the ripening process, a common and effective method is to place them in a paper bag with a banana. Once an avocado has reached optimal ripeness, It can be refrigerated for a maximum of 2 to 3 days if absolutely necessary, although a significant loss in quality is to be expected. For cut avocados, steps can be taken to mitigate browning, such as keeping the pit in, brushing the exposed flesh with lemon juice, and storing them in an airtight container, perhaps with a piece of onion, which can help preserve their appearance for up to 2 days at room temperature. Properly stored avocados retain their brain-boosting fats, their desirable creamy texture, and their age-fighting nutrients, offering a stark and beneficial contrast to the degraded quality of refrigerated ones. The profound truth regarding the detrimental impact of refrigeration on these 9 essential foods has been concealed for far too long, leading to substantial food waste and a significant loss of vital nutrition. By diligently adhering to the correct storage methods for these items, you can reclaim their full nutritional power and actively support improved health, particularly during your golden years. We are genuinely eager to learn which of these revelations surprised you the most and whether you have been unknowingly refrigerating any of these items yourself. Please take a moment to share your personal experiences and thoughts in the comments section below. We thank you for investing your time and watching this informative video.